Hi, I'm Mark Vacar, the Stanley Black & Decker team. I'm going to be talking to you about the industry analysis. To better understand Black & Decker as a company, we decided that we need to better understand the power tool industry. We conducted a Porter analysis, which goes beyond only looking at competitors and looks at other forces in the industry. The 5 forces in the Porter model are the threat of rivals, the threat of suppliers, the threat of new entrants, power of buyers, and the power of suppliers. The first force in the Porter model is the power of rivals. The biggest rivals of Black & Decker are Bosch, Tectonic, and Fortive. These companies also had multiple $billion in sales in 2019. They've also spent the last 10 years focusing on innovation and buying other leading brands to increase their market share and exploit new markets. These products often line the same shelves as hardware stores as Black & Decker's. While there are many different brands, they often look the same to consumers. Overwhelmed with the amount of choices they have, without knowing the difference between them, consumers will often buy any product without knowing if it was the best or most innovative model. Because of the lack of differentiation in the market, along with the overall size of the competitors, we assign the threat of rivals a high value. The next force in the Porter model are the threat of substitutes. The substitute that is the biggest threat to Black & Decker is the contractor industry. Instead of buying tools for around-the-house jobs, consumers have the option to hire a professional to do it for them. While this is easier, we believe consumers will avoid contractors at all costs because they're a lot more expensive than doing it themselves. Another threat facing Black & Decker is the tool rental industry. Instead of buying tools from hardware stores, some offer them the ability to rent them to complete the project. Our research showed that most tool rental sales come from products for bigger jobs or jobs that require very specific pieces of equipment. While these are both successful industries, we believe that consumers will avoid them as long as possible. As a result, we have assigned threat of substitutes a medium value. New entrants represent startups or existing companies who want to enter an industry. The power tool industry, they are almost non-existent. There are very high barriers to entry for any manufacturing sector because of the initial cost of setting up production and the high degree of economies of scale when buying raw materials. The power tool industry is even more difficult for new entrants because consumers are looking for the most innovative product. A small startup will always struggle to compete with the established R&D departments of the major brands. For these reasons, we have assigned the threat of new entrants a low value. The power of buyers is how much say customers have in the products they're buying and the price they are paying for them. The power tool industry, products are very rarely sold directly to consumers and are instead sold to hardware stores. While local hardware stores represent some of this business, we chose to focus on big-name stores like Lowe's or Home Depot. These stores buy in such large quantities that they have a lot of say when it comes to negotiating pricing. In the past year, almost 10% of Black & Decker sales have come from Lowe's alone. Product differentiation also plays a role here because it makes it a lot easier for hardware stores to leave products off their shelves if a price isn't reached without it being a big deal for the consumer. Because of how dependent Black & Decker is on big-name hardware stores, we've assigned the power of buyers a high value. The power of suppliers is how much say Black & Decker has when negotiating the price of their raw materials. In this situation, the relationship with suppliers is almost the opposite as the relationship with the buyers. This time, they are the ones who are buying inventory in large quantities, and the advantage falls to them when negotiating pricing. If Black & Decker can't reach the agreement on a price for the steel mill, they have the ability to walk away, and a new steel mill will surely come to them, willing to agree to the lower price. For this reason, we have assigned the power of suppliers a low value. After conducting the Porter analysis, we can see that the biggest outside threats to Black & Decker are rivals like Bosch and Tectonic, and hardware stores like Lowe's and Home Depot.